Yes, the Casanovians. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Absolutely beautiful day here in BKK. Just about to go to the Muay Thai gym, and I just wanted to walk through this food market, which looks like a bit of a ghost town at the moment, and explain to you boys why 99% of guys are not going to get a girlfriend from daytime cold approach in 2025. And the reason being is because you don't have the right systems in place. A lot of guys are just going out there to see what happens, right? They've got no system, they've got no accountability, they're getting no feedback. But the system is important, because I think a lot of guys are just going out there and they don't really have a system to follow. They don't really have a process. So what I want to do for you boys in this video is just give you a process. I want to just give you the exact process that I give to my private one-on-one coaching clients. And by watching this video all the way through, you're going to have my exact system that you can pretty much just copy to get a girlfriend from cold approach in 2025. I don't want you to be one of those guys who rolls into the new year with these high expectations and then nothing changes. You get to the end of 2025 in the exact same position as you're in this year, which, if you're watching these streams, is probably feeling lonely, sleeping on your own every night, watching your friends settle down, start families, have kids, thinking, is there something wrong with me? Have I missed the boat? Grappling with that existential perceived lack of self-worth. So let's actually get this sorted. Fuck me, there's a dead rat down there. That's gonna get shipped on the food market later. Let's get this sorted today, all right? Me and you, let's get this sorted today. So the process and the system that I'm gonna outline, this is a system that you can just copy, and it's a system which has worked for so many of my coaching clients, especially guys over the age of 30 who consider themselves no-hopers. So I'm talking about guys like Jason, 33-year-old single dad, came out of a 10-year long-term relationship. The dating game had changed massively since he met his ex-partner down the pub. He thought it was game over for him. He worked with me, he followed this system. Fast forward to today, he's now in a beautiful long-term relationship with an amazing woman who he met through daytime cold approach. So he met her central London, round Russell Square Gardens. The systems also work for guys like Graham. A lot of you guys will know Graham. 50-year-old guy, worked with me, turned 50, knew it was now or never, spent 3 decades of his life terrified of talking to women. He flew out to work with me in Krakow, and then within a week of working with me, he approached a 25-year-old woman. She became his girlfriend. The two of them have recently celebrated the 1-year anniversary together. And then guys like Lucas. I flew out to work with Lucas in Copenhagen, Denmark, last September. And Lucas, he had a lot of self-limiting beliefs. He labeled himself as an average guy, always thought that he wasn't good enough. And then after working with me and following the system, he cold approached a beautiful girl, a girl who actually he once would have labeled as out of his league. And the two of them are in a beautiful, committed, long-term relationship. So the reason why I share these stories is to, first of all, give you massive amounts of optimism. I think there's so much doomer content online, all of this men go their own way, oh, dating's fucked, blah, blah, bullshit. This video is definitely not for people who just want to sit around and complain and wallow in their own self-pity. Yeah, you might have it difficult, but welcome to the fucking game, dude. No one else is coming to save you. I was a porn addict 4 years ago. I had erectile dysfunction. I couldn't get boners with new women. What was my other option? What was I gonna do? Sit around and cry about it? No thanks. We got one shot at this life. So you're either gonna sit around and complain and be a little bitch, or you're actually gonna get something sorted. So let's walk through the process that I give to my guys. And you might wanna take notes on this because it actually works. It works as long as you actually implement it. So there's 3 stages to this: immersion, integration, selection. Write that down, remember it. Immersion, integration, selection. First of all, immersion. It takes 100 direct cold approaches to develop proficiency. You want to get these 100 done ASAP. The reason why guys who work with me get these sort of results fast is because one approach with me is worth around 30 approaches on your own. There's that dead rat again. One approach with me is worth around 30 approaches on your own. So by the time you've done 4 approaches with me, you've already got everything that you need, right? I've given you the playbook. I've held you accountable for your actions. Then it's just building on the foundations that we built together. If you are doing this on your own, what I would recommend that you do is every time that you go out there, start recording the audio of your conversations. When you record the audio of your conversations, it's going to give you a point of reference. I guarantee nobody's going to do this, but the people who do it are the ones who are actually going to get results from daytime cold approach. Record the audio, find out where you're going wrong. Your conversations might never go past that platonic chit chat. You might be giving off gay best friend type of vibes. You're operating your life like a closet heterosexual. Maybe you're talking too fast. Maybe you're asking too many questions. Maybe you're not asking enough questions. Maybe your conversations are not going on for long enough. Maybe your conversations are going on for too long and things feel too social rather than seductive. Maybe you lack conviction. Maybe you've got no conviction behind the compliments that you're actually giving. Maybe you're going over to women being like, hey, you look nice. You look kind of cute. Maybe you sound the same as every other guy who's cold approaching. Maybe you're just using the same generic bullshit models. Oh, you're from Colombia. When I think about Colombia, I think about you. You sound like a robot, dude. You sound like fucking C-3PO. Especially if you're in a city like London, where a lot of guys are out there cold approaching. You want to be differentiating yourself. Start using things like situational opens. Actually pay attention to the woman who you're talking to. What is it about her specifically that's caught your attention? Is it maybe the way she walks, the way she carries herself? Maybe she's got a distinct accent. Maybe it's her overall energy. Maybe there was just something compelling about her that made you want to go over and speak to her. Start recording the audio of your conversations. You need a point of reference. Otherwise, it's like shooting at a constantly moving target. You need to know what you're shit at. When I was starting this 4 years ago, what I would do, I would go outside into the Leeds city centre. I would do my approaches. I would record the audio of as many of these conversations as possible. I would then get home and I would create what I called a sticking point list. So on this list, and dude, I realised how nerdy and autistic this sounds. It's not sexy, but it fucking works. It's like when you're building a business. It's the boring work that makes you money, right? This is like the nitty gritty, as we say in the UK right here. This is the stuff that actually works. So if you're looking for some magic bullet or some shiny formula because your brain's been fried by TikTok, like, oh, just give me the information, then you're fucked. The thing that I say to you boys all the time, you don't have dating problems. You've got personal problems, which manifest themselves into dating problems. There's that dead rat again. Don't be the dead rat. So you've gone out there, you started recording the audio of your conversations. You want to get these first 100 direct approaches done as soon as possible, but also in the most condensed time period possible. So I'm training Muay Thai out here in Bangkok, Thailand. If I was doing one session every 3 weeks, honestly, dude, I don't see any point in me going. Same way if you want to build a better body at the gym, you ain't just going to train 1 day a month. And it's the exact same thing with cold approach as well. Guys half-arse it. You can't half-arse it. You need proficiency, and you need to do it in as fast of a time frame as possible, a condensed time period. Because if you just go out there and do 2 approaches this Saturday, and then maybe you get a few undesirable outcomes, maybe your conversations aren't what you expected them to be, maybe the girl's blank you, maybe you get a few phone numbers and the phone numbers flake, then you get sad, then you get deflated, then you decide cold approach doesn't work. Cold approach works as long as you do. All this is talking to people. How do you think people meet? They have conversations and then they copulate. So all it is, dude, it's just talking to people. So you need this proficiency within a condensed time period. You don't want to just be the weekend warrior who does 2 approaches on a Saturday, leaves it again for another month. That, if there's one thing you take away from this, it's getting those 100 approaches done in as condensed time period as possible. And again, if you want help with it, you can literally just do all of this with me. That's why I make these videos. It's content marketing. I've got all the skills. I spent 15 years putting these reps in. That's why I get guys who work with me get the results that they do. So you're either going to pay with money or you'll pay with time. People pay with whichever one they value the least. So those 100 approaches, get them done, proficiency. What I would suggest that you do as well, just book a week off work. Book 7 days off work. Go to a city where no one knows you. If you live in London, go to Barcelona, go to Copenhagen, come to Bangkok. Have a week and aim to do 15 cold approaches every single day for 7 days. By the end of those 7 days, you've done 105 direct cold approaches. And then you take all of that momentum back to your hometown with you, okay? So that's the first thing, that's immersion. You're not going to do this without immersion. You need immersion. You need to go hard, okay? Then comes integration. So once you've done those first 100 direct cold approaches, we're going to go from the shotgun to the sniper. So rather than going out there and spam approaching, we want to start integrating this skill into our busy lifestyle. And the easiest way to do this, once you've done those first 100 approaches, this is really important, so please listen to this. Once you've done those first 100 approaches, now you can approach on autopilot. Yeah, you're still going to have that resistance there. It's normal. I think a little bit of, we'll just call it approach anxiety. There's that rat again. A little bit of approach anxiety is healthy. It's good. Those butterflies in your belly, they're signs of growth. You need that feeling there. It tells you that you're alive. So you're not trying to eradicate it. You're simply trying to embrace it. You're dancing with those emotions rather than trying to avoid them. But what you're going to do, once you've done those 100 approaches and you want to integrate the skill into your busy lifestyle so you can learn cold approach but not become a cold approacher, is every time that you leave the house, you just set the intention. You say to yourself, before you leave the house, or you can say it to yourself whilst you're in a coffee shop, you say to yourself, when I see somebody who interests me today, I will go over and I will start a conversation with that person. The reason why we do this is to socially lubricate our minds because we can experience the event in advance. What usually happens is when guys have done their first 100 approaches, they can leave the house, opportunities can go by, they know they can approach, but they start to have this approach apathy in a way, where it's like they're not prepared for the approach to happen. So they can let golden opportunities slide by. It's like, dude, that opportunity that you just let slide by today, she could have been your next girlfriend. She could have been the future wife, you know, she could have been the one. But you'll never know because you didn't approach her because you hadn't lubricated yourself. So get lubed up before you get out there. Set the intention, just say to yourself, right, when I see somebody who interests me today, I will go over, I will start a conversation. If it's a woman, give them a compliment. But dude, honestly, even if it's a guy who ignites your curiosity, it's fine. It's just about being social. That's all that this is. If you want to integrate the skill into your busy life, it's about making social skills something you are rather than something that you do. And we do that by talking to everybody. The way we talk to everybody is set the intention ahead of time to talk to everybody. And that's how you start to integrate in. I said something really important there. All this is talking to people. I think guys, unfortunately, have got a very skewed vision of what this skill actually is. They think that cold approach and day game and street approaching are all the same thing. They're not. Just because you learn the skill on the streets doesn't mean you stay on the streets, okay? The streets, they're like the dojo. The streets are the training ground. It's where you're gonna get your reps in. It's where you're gonna get the points on the board. It's where you're gonna learn how to overcome objection, how to overcome your own mental bullshit, how to carry conversations, how to close, what to do when you run out of things to say. You're gonna learn all of that on the streets, but you don't get stuck on the streets. Again, all this is talking to people. So what I would recommend you boys do once you've got those 100 approaches done is start to develop more of a social scene in your city. So go into things like dance classes, salsa, bachata, kizomba, maybe going to some language exchange classes, maybe signing up to some martial arts gyms, developing more of a social scene in your city. And then rather than just going out on the streets, meeting women one by one, you can meet women as you go through your everyday life. And then you can invite them into things that you're already doing. So maybe you're planning on hosting a party. Maybe you're gonna go to a dance class this Saturday. And let's say you meet Susie round Shoreditch. Sexy Susie round Shoreditch. Try saying that when you've had 5 pints of the Mad Badger. And then you can say, hey Susie, listen, I'm gonna go to this dance class this Saturday. You should come with me. Feel free to invite your friends too. Now you're not just that weird lone wolf pickup guy who's just going one by one. Oh, do you want to come on a date with me? It's like you've already got a life outside of the women. Yeah, beautiful women are a beautiful byproduct of a beautiful life. All this skill comes down to is your ability to open, to overcome resistance, to just say fuck it, to have that devil may care attitude. Once you've done these 100 approaches, you start to develop this action taker aura where you can just open people, you can approach on autopilot, you can get dates on demand, nothing phases you anymore. Then the final phase is selection. So this is how my guys get girlfriends. They've done those 100 approaches. Now they've become that social guy. They can just strike up conversations with people. They've integrated the skill into their busy life. Maybe when they're on their lunch break, they can do some approaches. Maybe when they go to, I don't know, a concert or an event, they can strike up conversations. They're just being social, right? This has become something that they are rather than something that they do. The final thing that I help them with is selection. So out of all of the options that they've currently got available, who's the best one? Okay, this is for me what we're playing the game for, is to have a sensation of abundance. My definition of abundance is not always having, it's knowing you can have. Once you know how to make money, you're not stressed about money again. Once you know how to get women, you're not stressed about women again. It's the same thing, abundance. This notion of abundance will destroy all of your anxieties because the person who has everything needs nothing. And again, it's not always having, it's knowing that you can have. It's not always having, it's knowing that you can have. There you go, there's an open. So once you're in this place of abundance, where you've got more options and you know what to do with, and by the way, I would say abundance, honestly, is just having 2 women who are super into you. Just having two, having 2 women who think that you are fucking amazing. Having 2 women who are competing for your attention. For most guys, that's abundance right there. Having 2 wife-worthy women who want to be your number one. That's abundance, yeah? It's having more options than you can probably handle. I think there's just a lot of bullshit dogma on the internet, like, oh, sleep with as many women as possible. Oh, a high-value man, it's all about chasing the next notch. Or you have to be this hardcore Uber player who sleeps with 200 women a year. And it's just like, yeah, cool, dude. That might sound nice on social media, but I think for most guys, when you strip it all back, you just want to be wanted. You just want to have a best friend who you can have sex with, right? So you don't need to be everything to everybody. You just need to be a somebody for the right somebodies. So when you're in that place of abundance, and this is what Jason did. So I spoke about Jason at the start of the live stream. Jason did his 100 approaches. We did more than that, but with me, it probably equates to about 3,000 with the amount of feedback I was able to give him. So he did his approaches, he did his immersion. I introduced him to a network of like-minded guys in London. He was hitting the approaches every Saturday. And then he was going on dates. And then when he eventually found his now girlfriend, I remember he was in Milan with me and we were having a heart-to-heart conversation. He was like, Kristian, this woman's different. Out of all the people that I've met so far, there's just something different about this girl. I want to introduce her to my kids. I'm considering bringing her into my life. And he was able to make that decision from a place of true abundance, okay? Most relationships, most loyalty is based off of scarcity. Most guys are in relationships with a woman, not because they want her, but because they just want someone. And again, no shade on this. I've done it. I think we've all done it. You might be in that position right now where you're in a situationship, where you're just settling for what you think you can get rather than going after what you want because you don't think you're enough, because you grapple with a perceived lack of self-worth, because maybe historically you've had toxic relationships which knocked your confidence. And I get all of that. But again, it's your life, dude, you know, and it's ending one day at a time. I don't want you to be another one of the mind-dead masses who gets to the end of 2025 and has got fuck all to show for it apart from procrastination. So that's the 3-step process: immersion, integration, and then selection. And you can do this in a relatively short space of time. The immersion period is the most important. So really focusing on velocity, yeah, condensing that immersion into 1 week, 1 month at the most. Yeah, don't be a guy who has still not done those first 100 approaches after 6 months. It's unnecessary. There's no reason why it should take you that long, especially when you've got somebody like me who's making this content, who literally does this for a living, who's changed countless lives, who's got guys' girlfriends, guys who thought they were out of the game, no hopers. So you go out, you do your immersion, you record your conversations, you integrate the skill into your life by mentally lubricating yourself. When I see somebody who interests me, I will go over, I'll start a conversation. Then you've got that notion of abundance, and then you can pick your best option based off of all the options that you've currently got available. Realistically, you only need 1. Having 2's nice, because then it'll make you feel like a rock star. So that's the process, dude. You can literally just copy this, integrate it into your own life, and have an abundant dating life. And you don't need to be one of those guys who gets to the end of 2025 and is still wanking himself off into a sock. I have to get that line in. I always like getting that line in. So yeah, that's basically the process. Copy that, have an abundant dating life. If you want help, if you want me to speed up the process, you can do the whole thing with me in a single weekend. and then I hold you accountable over a sustained period to make sure you don't fall off the horse. So yeah, you can skip all the trial and error with me, or you can learn it on your own. It's up to you how you do it, but if you've enjoyed this live stream, drop it a like. I'm gonna go to some Muay Thai gym now. I hope you all have an amazing Christmas. I feel socially lubricated, so that's nice. I'll speak to you boys again tomorrow. All right, love you.